Good morning, mathematicians. Whoa, why is my face so huge? Let's shrink that guy down. Let's make that, hey, let's make that man in my computer a little bit smaller. You know what I'm saying? Let's make that a smaller guy. It's office hours time, baby. Baby. Hello, Kostaka Corey. First in chat. Literally just opened YouTube. Leo, we are psychically linked. Diffeomorphic. Welcome. Welcome. What are we gonna do today? I might go back to that paper I was looking at before with oprads and stuff. Hey, the Joker. How's it going? But I also haven't taken a look at archive for a day or two. Maybe we'll just see if there's anything I missed. This is new. Oh, I met this person at a conference. Uniform bounds and uncertainty, asymptotics. Oh, that actually seems interesting. We prove 2 points of growth on the dimensions of fixed vectors of representations of p-adic GLN. Under principal congruent subgroups. First, a uniform bound of growth of fixed vectors in terms of the GK dimension. Interesting. These results are independent of one another and proved in the framework of Langland-Solovinsky classifications. Interesting. The goal of this paper is twofold: give uniform bounds on these invariants with initial focus on the rate of growth of fixed vectors, and to establish quantitative relationships between them, the most novel of which relates the GK dimension and the decay rate of matrix coefficients. I didn't even think about this as a question to ask. Local character expansion. I should be looking at the other paper, but yeah, this is interesting. Results. We work with explicit combinatorial classifications. For all epsilon, there's a uniform constant, such that for any smooth, irreducible representation pi, the dimension is bounded by this. Proof is given in terms of the Solovinsky classification, for which the intermediate building blocks are the so-called Spey representations. For supercosmos, a uniform upper bound was established here using the Whittaker model. Extending supercosmos bound Spey representations. Theorem, wait, which theorem was this? 3.2.1? Let's go to 3.2.1. Hello, Locke. How you doing? How are you doing? There's a uniform constant. Can you ask me something about post-undergrad things? Yes. Is it too crazy for a topic, masters, simply because you like the vibe of people directly involved? Sorry, is it too crazy to go for a topic? Oh, I see. You're asking if it's too crazy. No, I mean, Yeah, if you look, if you have broad tastes in mathematics and you're happy, you'd be happy doing that or anything else. Um, and yeah, I mean, um, liking your supervisor is important. Um, yeah, yeah. Even more so in your PhD than your master's, I'd say, because it's just you're spending more time with that person, right? Um, Even if you don't know much about the topic, yeah. I mean, to be fair, honestly, like most undergrads, when you're starting your master's, like you probably don't know anything really about what you'll be doing. Um, that's not uncommon. Uh, I mean, if it's totally out of left field, you could, if you do like, you know, you've done like higher categories in abstract algebra and this is in PDEs, then okay, you're gonna need to spend some time getting yourself caught up on the PDEs or something, right? Uh, Probably, but I wouldn't even say that that's necessarily a reason um, to not go for it. Something to consider if it's like way out of what you're used to, but yeah, I don't know. Yeah, short answer is what Leo said. So it seems like a decent way to go. You found a workaround for your CGA question. Nice. You just use the embedding of PGA in CGA. Since you're familiar with PGA. Okay. What's that? Projective geometric algebra? Yeah. Yeah. Your choices. Yeah, basing your choices on people is. Yeah, that's a good plan. That is a good plan. Yeah. I mean, another thing to think about too, right? Is like if you're doing a master's, that means you probably want to do a PhD, which means you probably want to have a career in mathematics. And you're planting the seeds for future collaboration and mentorship, right? Like, I don't know, and I think forever you should think about this in grad school as well. Like the friends that you make, like going to conference. Here's the advantage of like going to conferences, building relationships with professors, right? You're planting the seeds of professional relationships later down the road, right? If you know people, this will like open up they may think of you down the road when a job opportunity comes up. Or, they might just like you and say, oh, you know what, let's write a paper together or something. Like I literally had an interaction not too long ago where I was telling someone that I was learning about spectral sequences, and they were like, well, if you ever, learn enough about it, I have this old paper, needs to be we want to do some like touch ups on it or something, if ever you feel comfortable enough, you know, maybe you could help us like finish that paper or something, right? So, and it's something that's not like directly in my field. So it's like, yeah, you know, there's there's a lot to be said for forming relationships with people just because you like them. Um, and honestly, by the way, this is something I've been thinking about. Someone reached out to me like a while ago. I should actually email them back at some point. They asked if I wanted to like work with them on something to do with modules. At the time, I said, I'm too busy. I don't think I can. Not that I have a ton more time now, but maybe I should reach out to them again. But that's something else I think about with YouTube is that maybe this is a way I'll eventually have collaborators, right? Like hanging out with all y'all, maybe uh, maybe some of us will find a topic to write a paper on together someday because of this channel. Like, wouldn't that be sick? Like, wouldn't that be the dream? Like, wouldn't that actually be the coolest thing to ever happen? I think it would be. The thing I'm working on right now, I'm most excited for it, like I said, because it's a project with a friend. Isn't that the dream? To publish a paper with a friend? Like, what could I care about more? What matters more? What could possibly matter more? I don't care what the topic is. Well, the topic is really cool, but you know. Anywho, now I'm really yapping, which is what office hours is about. You feel you have not prepared enough in undergrad? Well, you'll never get used to it because you'll never feel prepared enough for anything, but you'll do it anyways. You wish you had known at least 3 years before you finish undergrad. Yeah, well, that's how it goes. You're never prepared for anything, and you do it anyways. Over time, you've learned the hard way that thinking in PGA is infinitely better than vanilla geometric algebra. I know nothing of either, honestly. The group works mainly with complex geometry and algebraic geometry with some connections to math phys. You know nothing of algebraic geometry, nor do you know much of complex geometry. Well, I mean, one thing I would do is try to get yourself caught up then in the meantime, right? That'd be my, advice to you. Get yourself caught up. Do you know complex geometry, nothing, nor do you know much of complex geometry. So, yeah, I would, maybe, so that means you do know some complex geometry. So you got to lean into that. A little bit and get yourself a book that discusses both complex and algebraic geometry. Like, I don't know, Griffiths Harris is a tome, but something like that. What words are you looking at in the screen? Basically, these are representations of GLN, and basically what this is you're looking at. So this is some representation. You're looking at the fixed points of that representation, which forms a subrepresentation, and you're asking what the dimension of that is. Well, sorry, not a subrepresentation over the whole group initially, but these determine sort of important families of modules. And so there's a bound of on this in terms of this other thing. This is cool though. This is really cool. This is a cool paper. This is a cool result. Oh man, I'm tired. Why have I been waking up so early? Code Parade beat you to that dream? If that ever happens, you'll put Kay's chat in the footnotes? Yes, please do. Please do. Yeah. This is very interesting. I don't see where the Zelevinsky theory comes in yet. But it's probably buried in... Oh, here it is. Here it is. Interesting. I might have to take a closer look at this paper today. What are my thoughts on memorizing proofs? My thoughts on memorizing proofs are, well, you just got to do it for when you're in school. Because there's, proof memorization is, there's some proofs you just need to know, right? Especially in order to survive a class. Like, the thing is, you want to make sure, when you're memorizing a proof, you want to make sure you're not just memorizing a proof, right? As people will tell you, understanding comes first. You want to make sure that you understand everything. But that's going to be very useful when you, this is going to be very useful, like, if you have to come up with a new proof, right? And then on the test, and then you search your memory bank and you say, well, you know what, this statement reminds me a lot of this statement, and here's the tools that worked in this proof I have memorized. So let me start by trying those tools, right? So it just gives you the initial inspiration, and then you need to think, you need to understand. That's why you can't just memorize, you need to also understand. But you do need to memorize. Actually, this is an important part. But now once you get to doing research level mathematics, I spend 0% of my time trying to memorize proofs. No, in fact, most of the time I don't read the proofs in the papers I'm reading. But you will inevitably end up memorizing things, right? Just because it's like you use certain techniques a lot. Like you'll just accidentally remember things. So a superhospital representation is, so basically, for p-adic groups, we have our Levy subgroups. Good news. Well, that's good. So call it G N1 to NR is the subgroup where you have block diagonal matrices, where each of these, this is just the GLN case. Block diagonal matrices, right, where the ends, these add up to n. And then we have something called parabolic induction. So basically what you do, so this is the Levy subgroup. And then the unipotent part is you put identity matrices of the same size all down the diagonal. And then you put upper triangular things here, right? So basically what you do is you take representations, you take a representation of this, you inflate it to here, and you induce. And that's called parabolic induction, right? So whatever, for certain reasons, we use this, and then there's other topological conditions you have to put on it. We use this instead of sort of the naive definition of induction when doing representations of p-adic groups. But much like ordinary induction, this has an adjoint, and probably I'm writing the adjoint on the wrong side, but it doesn't matter. Well, I mean, it does matter. It is important, but there's like a two-sided adjoint. And anyways, this is called the Jacquet functor. But really, you should think of it in terms of a restriction. I mean, it's a little more complicated than that. It's not just the restriction, but you basically look at V. Oh, what is it? It's like V quotient, all the things coming from the unipotent part of this parabolic. So this is the Levy part, and this is the like upper triangular part. And then you basically look at the span of these things, and you take that quotient, and that's the Jacquet functor. Yeah. Yeah. So morally, it's restriction. It's just you also take a quotient too, and then okay, technically there's some like topological things and some like normalization stuff we do, whatever. But morally, is just induction and restriction. And so, what is so usually a superhospital? Well, there's different ways of defining superhospital actually, but one way to define it is that for all proper parabolic subgroups of G, the Jacquet functor is trivial, right? So in other words, via the adjunction, another way you could say is that it will not appear in the induced representation, in any induced representation from some proper parabolic, right? So basically, what that means is one sort of splits the study into like two pieces. So you have your study of supracuspidal representation. So these are representations that can't be probed by going from smaller subgroups, by inductively, in the other sense of the word, right? Other representations you can inductively build up, right? Because you can, take tensor products of representations of smaller GLNs and then induce, and then maybe your representation shows up in there. This is not the case for supracuspidal representations by definition. So, then there's like a whole industry of supracuspidal representations and proving all of those and generating all of those, which is sort of like the building blocks of the theory. And then there's sort of like a second part of the theory on top of that, which now assumes we have the total understanding of supracuspidal representation theory, of supracuspidal representations, and builds, the rest of the representations, assuming all the supracuspidal stuff. So there's sort of two stages. So a representation is supracuspidal. So pi is said to be supracuspidal if for all proper parabolics, so other than G itself, because G is a parabolic, if for all proper parabolics, the Jacquet functor is of applied to pi is 0. Yeah. Okay, we got a bunch of comments I haven't read here. VJ deals with extending the beginner linear algebra view. Okay. Math, did you tell us what your good news is? PGA deals with unbounded n-dimensional segments. Okay. What do I think about learning this? First, understand big picture, find what's interesting, and see how it fits in the big picture, and iterate. Yeah. I don't know. You got to do both. I wouldn't say do that first necessarily. I wouldn't order things. Well, today the tea is coffee, Boris. Yeah. I don't know. You should also learn the precise definitions. I don't know. Because of that, PGA becomes morally correct domain for geometry. Upgrade to CJ if you want to be in drugs. So yeah. You like reading a chapter without too much focus on the details and then go back and actually understand the proofs. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you can see that with this, with this paper, as I've been looking at it on stream, the way I've been going through this is the way I would normally go through a paper, right? I would, I looked the title, abstract, read the setup to the section in a bit more detail. Now I'm skimming through the main results. I'm seeing, oh yeah, here's where they use multi-segments, and then maybe I'll come back and like go in more detail. You try not to learn ever. We weren't meant to learn. We were meant to just know via vibes and magic. Yeah. Yeah. If only I could pick up more through vibes. Vibe mathing. Yeah. Yeah, unfortunately, I don't know. I've been having interactions with people lately, more and more, that are trying to vibe math, and it's just obviously all nonsense, and it kind of makes me sad. I don't know. I mean, it's like with every tool. You know, it's like, wow, ChatGPT could be such a great tool for learning math. And it's like, yeah, it's a good tool for people who already know and need an advanced search engine. But I feel like it's turning more people into crackpots than would have been otherwise. Um, yeah. Yeah, this is interesting. This is interesting. Immediately, I am thinking like, okay, how do we go beyond GLN? The question is how, to what extent are they relying on the multi-segment classification? How essential is that? I guess it could be very. I guess it could be very essential. In which ways? Ooh, look at this graph. That's a nice graph. Look at that graph. That's cool. Well, there aren't groups beyond GLN. If only. Actually, no, that would make my life less interesting. Yeah, so the question is here, how essential is the multi-segment? How essential is the multi-segment business? Could one get away just using Langland's classification type stuff? That's a question. So maybe we go back and start reading it in more detail. Possibly. I do have this other paper. What's up? What are we doing today? Well, we were looking a bit at this new paper that just dropped. Uniform bounds and uncertainty asymptotics for representations of p-adic GLN. Could I link this paper? Maybe. Do I have permissions to drop links in my own chat? I do. What is the equal sign? That's a good question. Some sort of asymptotic type thing. Where was it? We use this to denote that both functions are bounded by a multiple of the other for L large enough. That's what it means. Yeah. Is this wow, people seem interested in this paper. Should this be a new study group? We try and generalize this paper live. Maybe, I don't know. Should I? No one joined my. Actually, I haven't officially announced my Patreon, but I started putting the link in the videos, but no one's joined yet. So maybe I should make the Discord $1, and then we can try and work on this paper in the Discord or something. I don't know. It's when equal gets tired and sags. Yeah. The visual differential geometry guy really likes that equal symbol. Who? The visual differential geometry guy? I don't know who that is. Okay, yeah, let's look at some of the meat and potatoes here. Oh, they have a conjecture. Or this is someone else's conjecture, I don't know. Okay, so, well, they do say Focuses papers on GLN, but we expect both uniform bounds on fixed vectors and an uncertainty principle to hold for general reductive p-adic groups. For the uniform upper bounds, a crucial input is a bound on the support of certain matrix coefficients of supracuspal representations, which is conjectured here to hold generally and is known in several cases. Beyond this, our proofs rely heavily on the explicit combinatorics of Langland's and Zelevinsky classification as detailed here. Wait, LM14? Wait. Oh, yes, I see. Wait, where were we? Where were we? Where were we? Damn it. Background. No, where were we? Was it still in the introduction? I thought it was right after this, wasn't it? Hang on, Chad. I'll be back with you in a second. I just got to figure out where I was here. For GLN, Results of here, Bernstein, Zelevinsky. What? Why can't I find? Why can't I find where I was? What is going on? Okay, I know the word combinatorics was used, so I'm gonna combinatorics. I'm gonna search it. Okay, here we were on page 5. Wow. Okay, here we were. Okay, chat, and I'm gonna get caught up with you. What are the perks? Huh? Vibe math is like lobotomy math. Something is missing. I want to do lobotomy math. Hell yeah. Oh, you know one of the authors. I've met one of the authors as well. Which one? I've met. I think I met Mathilde at a conference. She was giving a talk in the same session. You're going to contribute to generalizing a paper where you just barely have started the subject. Why not? You saw my previous video about not being skilled enough. Do I have any thought on being self-aware early on? You're in your second year of a master's degree in mathematics. Yeah, I mean, well, like I say in the video, actually being naive is probably helpful because, you gotta overshoot your abilities a little bit to get anywhere. You gotta push yourself beyond. Yeah, I don't know. It's a hard thing. You're in a strange place at the second year of your master's, so I don't know. You're starting to understand the lay of the landscape, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's also a very hard thing to assess. Like, it could be that actually OP has misdiagnosed themselves. It could be that I'm misdiagnosing myself. Ooh. Who knows? It's very hard to tell. But I don't know. I mean, also, give it a shot. And also, what is good enough? I should have talked about this more in the video. What does good enough actually mean? Because good enough to just end up as an adjunct with a mediocre salary teaching calculus? I mean, for some people, that's a great life. And so if that sounds like a fine enough life for you, then um, that's a more achievable goal, you know? But if you care about where you live, then it's like, well, your option's slimmer, where you know where you stand. But you're still in a position where I think it's hard to evaluate. So I don't know. I feel like for now you got to just start. You got to just go for it. Clifford algebra is a pure and Galois cohomology. Yes. The Brouwer group. Yes. Maybe we'll come back to that at some point. Because that stuff is based. Does everyone in my math department... Wait, in whose math department? Including undergrads know my channel? Yeah, I think a lot of people know my channel. I think a lot of people know about my channel. I've also like interviewed, famous guests when they've come. Silverman and Real. Oh, you guys were telling me I just scrolled past it. I should have been paying attention. You're skilled compared to most of your peers? Well, then, I mean, then I'd say things are looking good if that's your assessment. But you're at Terry's level when he was 9. Well, Terry, if you're talking about Terrence Tao, then there's no need to compare yourself to that person. If you're skilled compared to your peers, right? Then I think that puts you in a pretty good position. Yeah, it's comparing yourself to Terrence Tao is not a realistic thing to do. Well, yeah, the abstractness of any subject is quite subjective. Almost said surjective. You could beat 9-year-old Tao in a fist fight. Yeah, I think I could too, Boris. I could probably. Not that I'd ever want to harm that wonderful man, but I could take him in a fight now. I think. You diagnosed me with asbestos. That sounds like a spell. I diagnose you with asbestos. Boom. When do I become an options trader? I don't know. Maybe never. Maybe in a year from now. Who knows? People are struggling to know the difference between scalars and vectors, so you'd be worried to hit them with bivectors, multivectors. Yeah. Okay, this is an important paragraph, though. Beyond this, our proofs rely heavily on the explicit combinatorics of the Langlands and Zelvinsky classification. It is therefore unlikely that our methods would carry through verbatim. For classical groups, we mention recent progress on local Jiang's conjecture, which aims to describe the wavefront set of representations inside of an Arthur packet in terms of the attached A parameter. This, combined with known computations of this for A packets of classical groups in terms of the Arthur SL2, could provide an approach to prove an uncertainty principle for classical A packets. Interesting. As the most general possible conjecture for fixed vectors, GP group, point in the Bruhat-Titz building, Interesting. Wait. Whoa. Fix a point, take the Elthmoit-Prasad group, then for all epsilon, there should exist a constant such that for any smooth, irreducible representation, the dimension of this space is bounded by this. Note again that uniformity is a key difference here, since a non-uniform variant holds. Huh. Interesting. Yeah, actually, I don't know what a blade is. Mass 100%. You've not solved the Collatz conjecture. I hate to break it to you. Actually, I don't really hate to break it to you. I feel neutral about breaking it to you, but it's just the way it is. I mean, it's just the way it is. I don't know what to tell you. Unless I'm wrong. And then I'll have a whole live stream about me eating my words when your proof gets accepted to the annals of mathematics. Your assignment right now gave you 6 questions and was like prove or disprove each with the hint that one is an open problem. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. I got to be doing stuff like that. Oh, maybe I'll. Oh. Oh, I guess I won't be making meat buns. Vegan meat buns, Mom? Are you making some vegan meat buns for me? Love you, by the way. Thanks for making vegan meat buns. If you are. If you are. But yeah, I guess. Actually, no, since I'm not. I will be teaching a course next semester, but I guess I won't be the course coordinator, so I probably won't be involved in making homework. Otherwise, 100% I would do that. Is it normal that homework takes at least a week to do? Yeah, yeah. That would be fast. That would be fast. Only 1 week to do your homework? I mean, okay, depends on the course and the length of the homework and stuff, but like, yeah. Fresh ones before I get there. Okay, awesome. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. That's more fuel for more math. What time did I start streaming? Okay. Probably cut it off around 8:30, I'm guessing. A K-blade is the exterior product of K vectors. Not K vectors, yeah. Okay. Let's just dive deeper into this, I guess. Nilpotent orbits in GLN. Nilpotent orbits in GLN. Right. Parameterized by this. Yeah, actually, is this even true? This is just true in general? This is just true in general? Isn't this, this is field agnostic? Like, I know that I know about the nilpotent orbits for GLN over the complex numbers. But, like, can we say that this holds over finite fields as well, or p-adic numbers, or what? What are those? Are you asking about exterior products? Did I know that if I wait a week before giving students their homework back, they do a lot better in the subject? Wait, what? According to who? Where's this paper? What's the paper called? I'm intrigued. I'd be very surprised that it would make a significant difference. No, the Collatz conjecture doesn't have any practical applications at all. But it's yeah. Here's why it's interesting, because it's a very simple to state problem, but it's very hard to solve. Which also makes it like rife for crackpots to attack it. Because it's very simple to state, so they can understand the problem, and then, they try some like methods, and yeah. Just note, Nikolai, that it will be hard to it won't let you post links in chat. So you got to just tell us the title of the paper. One of your profs just graded your first assignment, which you submitted like 2.5 months ago. That is bad. There's no way that that's helping people. That's pretty bad. Yeah. How is the... Well, I'm not a professor, by the way. I'm not even a doctor yet. How is the morphism... yes. So are you talking about how there's a natural bijection between functions from A cross B into C and functions from what is it? Well, let's do it this way. Functions from A to functions to B to C. Okay, so let's call this, let's call this uppercase phi. So let's think about it. Right? So suppose we have a function f, and it goes from AB to C, right? So basically f eats pairs of elements in A and B, and it spits out something in C. Okay, so now the goal is what? We want to define some new function, phi of f, over here. And phi of f is supposed to go from A to functions from B to C. So what does that mean? That means that whatever phi of f is, if we plug in an element of A, we should have a function. We should get out a function between B and C. Right? So what does that mean? That means that we need to... So phi of f should be something where if you plug in A and then you plug in B, you get out an element of C. Right? So now, looking at this picture, let me zoom out slightly. So looking at this picture, right, I'm given an input of A and B. I somehow need to use f to try and decide what the output C is going to be in this situation. Can you see something? Can you come up with a way using the function f to define what this output should be? Yeah. It's usually unhelpful to think of geometric algebra objects as being K-forms. Huh. What? I thought that's literally what it was all about, is K-forms. Definitely didn't help. Everyone bombed the midterm so bad that the finals got replaced with paper representations. Paper presentations, I see. You found many new aspects and applications in that paper. In which paper? I don't... yeah, I did just sum them all. Indeed. Delaying feedback promotes transfer of knowledge despite student preferences, by Hillary G. That name sounds familiar, actually. I feel like maybe I've read some education paper of her. Delaying feedback promotes transfer of Hillary G. I'll just take a look. Interesting. Educators and researchers who study human learning often assume that feedback is most effective when given immediately. I mean, I could believe that somewhat... I mean, there's got to be a sweet spot of delay, right? Because obviously, like, 3 years later isn't good. But, yeah, I could believe that it gives students time to sort out their own issues, right? And that's better for, like, growth. Has challenged the assumption by demonstrating that can facilitate learning, advocates for immediate feedback, have questioned generalizability of this finding, suggesting that such effects only occur in highly controlled laboratory settings. We report a pair of experiments in which the timing of feedback was manipulated in an upper-level college engineering course. Students practiced applying their knowledge of complex engineering concepts on weekly homework assignments and then received feedback either immediately or after the assignment deadline or 1 week later. When students received delayed feedback, they performed better on subsequent course exams that contained new problems about the concepts. Although delayed feedback produced superior transfer of knowledge, students reported that they benefited most from immediate feedback. Interesting. Revealing a meta-cognitive disconnect between the actual and perceived effectiveness. That is so interesting. Wow. That is very interesting. I mean, I kind of want to know things about details about like experimental design and size, but I mean, okay, you can only base it off one experiment anyways, and it does seem they're referencing a growing body of literature, but yeah, still the first pass, it seems like really interesting. Okay, I think we're probably gonna peace out right away. But although I haven't heard Professor John Smith, I haven't heard your guess here. So, well, I'll just let you. I want you to think about this, right? So the thing is, what are you starting with? You have a function. So you have a way of eating pairs of elements and spitting out things in C. And now we have this new thing that we realized, right? What is it doing? It's first eating an element of A and then eating an element of B, and we need to come up with some way of determining an element of C. So meditate on that for a while. I went too far up here. It was about 8% difference in test scores between the groups. That's not a big difference, though. That's not a big difference. But I guess, I don't know. I mean, I'm not a statistician, so I don't know. How do you even compute, like, what's the confidence intervals on that and stuff? But mind you, I guess 8% could certainly be a lot. I don't know. It's intriguing. It's definitely intriguing. You can identify them with K-forms, but their real content is in their geometric interpretation. Yeah, but K-forms are geometric. So that sentence doesn't make a ton of sense to me. K-forms is a geometric interpretation, like, in my mind. Are there any other reversible math topics like that? Topological algebra isn't a thing? Well, maybe. You don't know the exact geometric interpretation of K-forms? But you kind of do, right? Because you know geometric algebra. So you kind of know a geometric interpretation of K-forms. Yeah, initially shocking, but yeah, like I said, I mean, I think the believability is that yeah, you give students about a week to give students about a week to try and figure out where they went wrong on their own. Definitely sounds like something that promotes better growth. But this is this is something I think about in other contexts, is like the dissonance between students' perceptions of something versus their actual performance. That's also such an interesting thing. I think about that also in terms of teaching. I'm like, I've gotten some like teaching awards here and there, and I'm like, am I actually doing a better job at teaching these students? Like, probably not, right? Like, it's kind of a popularity contest, right? Like, I just have, more of a personality, especially when I'm in the classroom and I'm flailing my arms and talking all excited, right? It's like, it's very engaging. It's entertaining. I feel like I'm an entertainer at heart, like I was in like theater and stuff when I was in high school. I think that's kind of why I'm on YouTube as well. Is like there's an entertainer in my heart, right? And it's like, um, I mean, I don't think I'm bad at teaching. I think I am able to communicate some knowledge across, but also, yeah, but also I think there is it's like I think students will have a perception, they'll have a good time in my class. They'll have a perception that it's engaging. But then um are they really learning any better than someone who's like less lively? Uh I don't know. Um well, take your time, think long and hard. And then the other thing too is if you're struggling with that, try going the other way as well. Try coming up with the map in the other way, and maybe that will give you some inspiration. But we can come back tomorrow. We can come back to it tomorrow. Keep thinking about it. We'll come back to it tomorrow. Um, Wildly different contexts. How can students determine how much they're learning? Yeah, I mean they can't. It's hard. Yeah. As another entertainer who teaches and gets lots of feedback, you also get that a lot. Yeah. Good review because it was fun. Yeah. Yeah. Interesting thought to go out on. Well, thank you all for joining me. And yeah, I don't know. Get some work done. Eh? Stop wasting your time on YouTube with entertaining people like me and get some work done.